representative parent. The student body is represented or led by the following. 1, His Excellency, Our Excellency Gift Mwanthi, who is the president of Kalawa Comprehensive Primary School. 2, Her Excellency Damaris Peter, the Deputy President of Kalawa Comprehensive School. The Right Honorable Feb Nelson, the Honorable the Speaker of Kalawa Comprehensive School. Welcome, my colleague speaker. At some point, I may invite you to take over the proceedings for the remainder of the session. And fourth is Maxwell Mwenda, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Kalawa Comprehensive School. Cabinet Secretaries present are the Cabinet Secretary for Education, 2 of them, Muthoki Onesmus and Mwanzia Ndeti. Cabinet Secretary for ICT, John Nzambu and Xavier Wambua. Cabinet Secretaries for Sports, Dixon Mule and Ada Chalo. Special Needs Cabinet Secretary, Kelly Mutiso and Joy Kilati. Peace and Cohesion Cabinet Secretary, Mongela Ndunge and Rose Chalo. Environment and Sanitation Cabinet Secretary is Musyoka Mutinda and Vati Mutheu. Governors. The governor for grade 6 is His Excellency Lucky Mwenda, together with Sandra Mutheu. Governor for grade 7 is Muwo Mutuku and Denya Ngundi. Governor for grade 8 is Henry Silla and Miriam Kavinya. Governor for grade 9 is Eric Mwange and Mwende Mbada. Honorable members, students, teachers, and parents, for your information, the Constitution of Kenya establishes 47 county governments, each comprising of 2 arms, that is the county assembly and county executive arm. The county executive arm is comprised of the governor, the deputy governor, county executive committee members who are equivalent to cabinet secretary, and the functions of the county executive is to implement laws that are passed by this county assembly. 2 is to implement national laws within the county, and the 3 is to coordinate the roles of the county administration and its department. And 2, the Constitution of Kenya and the County Government Act further provides for the composition of the county assembly as follows. 1, elected members of the county assembly. These are members who are directly elected by representative, and an example is member for Kalawa Ward, Honorable Kali, who represents the residents of Kalawa Ward, including the parents, teachers, students. 2, nominated members of county assembly. Nominated members of county assembly are nominated by political parties represented in this house to represent special issues, including women, children, gender, marginalized, and persons with disabilities. An example is that Honorable Jane Mwandi, wife to former renowned Councillor Mwandi, who served in this council, is here nominated by Wiper.
It's actually a tree for them to learn and also understand what the assembly is doing in terms of serving the community. And that's another people who elected us. Is going to sit for a national exam, and we have grade 9, of which I do understand, Mr. Speaker, is also going to sit for a national exam. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, for them to come to here, it is a way to open up their eyes.
Initiative to come and see where your MCAs represent you. It is my privilege to say this to my students from Kalawa. There is power in what you choose. If you choose to learn effectively, God will answer your prayers and you will perform to the best you wish to. Thank you, our principal, for showing solidarity in the 3 pillars in your institution, bringing parents, students, and the staff. It is a privilege, and this is a learning trip, and I believe after this section, you'll be somewhere in another level of understanding what county assemblies do. Our role is to represent, oversight, and legislate. So welcome, you learn, and I know after this, in Ikalawa, you'll send a good message from this honorable house. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader of the majority party. To lay papers.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Before I lay these papers, I want to join my colleagues in welcoming the students, teachers, and parents of Kalawa Primary School in Boni constituency. You are our neighbors. My name is Kisungi Wakatete, the majority leader, and also the MCA for Kidungo Kitundu Ward in Boni. So I welcome you, and we pray together with my colleagues for you to have a successful learning trip and for you to take back some good knowledge of what happens in the assembly and for you to prosper in whatever you dream of. Honorable Speaker, I want to recognize Her Excellency, the President of this school, Gift Mwande. And the reason I'm recognizing that name is because she can live to that dream. Not even Gift Mwande alone, but all the others. If you have been called a governor, I don't see any reason why you can't become a governor. There is no reason. Any county referral hospital for the year ended 30th June 2024. 7, the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Assembly, State and Public Officers, Carlon and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th. 24, the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Executive, State and Public Officers, Carlon and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. Auditor General on the Makueni County Climate Change Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. 26, the report of the Auditor General on the Makueni County Fruit Development and Marketing Authority for the year ended 30th June 2024. 27, the report of the Auditor General on the Kibwezi Makindu Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2024. 27, the report of the Auditor General on the Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the General on the Boni Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I lay.
Honorable members, the reports of the auditor, 90 days. Chairperson, public investments, how many more reports do you have that you have not reported on?
Honorable Speaker, I may not grasp the exact, but I know we have close to around 8 that are ready, awaiting either slotting in the order paper or
Honorable Speaker, you have directed.
What is it, Honorable Mudiga?
Honorable Speaker, you have directed the papers to public investments, not public accounts. So I am worried that my chair is speaking and is not the chair Public Investments Committee.
Fair enough. It's a question of semantic. That observation is made. Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee.
Well, Speaker, the the father is always obligated to say yes when the son is called, even Kimongo. But when you mention, I can still stand up, or he can still do it. So Park, having been given birth to Pick, when you call Park, the chair can still shout, but only when on issues of success. When it's about something that is not done well, I'll sit down. Speaker had said, I may not have the exact numbers with me, but I know we have close to 10 reports that are ready, either awaiting slotting of around, close to around 10 also, that we have done interrogation, and we are almost finalizing on the report. We have announced in a week or two. So our tray is almost getting empty. In a matter of a month or so, we have dispensed what is.
Well, you need to pull up your socks, Chair. If you want your business to be considered, there is no way you will show up alone in this chamber and expect that you will have quorum for your business to be expended. That's just an example, not for debate. So as you grapple with what perhaps you thought Honorable Muthike was to say, let us ensure that we are part of resolving this problem, so that then you consider these other reports.
Allow that I inform the House that my committee is the most represented in this House. Even right now, as we speak, we have the Honorable Vice Chair has just walked to the washroom, Honorable Mutindi, Honorable Muthike, Honorable Manzo, Honorable Tivu, Honorable Masi. 8 out of 9. Show me another committee that has 8 out of 9.
Honorable Chair, you deserve an applause. How I wish other committees could act as such. Chairperson, Public Investments Committee, you consider from number 26, 27, 28, and 29. That's on Makueni Fruit Development Authority, Kibwezi Makindu Water, Water, and Boni Water. Chairperson, Delegated Legislation, to lay a paper. Chairperson, Delegated Legislation, to lay a paper. Chairperson, Vice Chair, we have members from that committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm a member of that committee, and we seek that we lay this paper on Monday. We had some few things that we had not completed.
Without fail.
Yes, sir.
Next order. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Leader of the Majority Party to give a notice of motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to give notice of the following motion. That pursuant to the provisions of Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders 30, 31, and 33, this Assembly approves the proposed Makueni County Assembly calendar for the 4th session of the 3rd Assembly, regular sessions, 2025, as appended on the order paper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
So, Committee on Delegated Legislation to lay a paper on public finance on Monday. On Monday next week. Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Leader of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 47, 2A, and 55 of the County Assembly Standing Orders, I rise to give a statement on the business of the County Assembly for the next sitting week. The following business has been tentatively scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly in the next sitting week, Monday, 17th February 2025. Statements. 1. Request for statement by the member for Muvao Kikumeni Ward from the chairperson, Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development regarding the need to survey Kangondi Market in Muvao Kikumeni Ward. 2. Request for a statement by the member for Emali Mulala Ward from the chairperson, Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy regarding the delayed payment of plant operators in the county. 3. Request for a statement by the member for Dange Ward from the chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change regarding the effects of oil spillage from the Kenya Pipeline Company Limited pipeline in Dange Ward. 4. Request for a statement by the member for Ukia Ward from the chairperson, Committee on Gender, Children, Youth, Sports and Social Services regarding the expenditure of funds for the purchase of seats to organized groups in Ukia Ward under the Social Protection Program, OVC, and GBV, Management and Support Vulnerable Groups, PWDs, Aged and Youth. On the same day, Honorable Speaker, it's proposed to have motions education and internship on consideration of the nomination of County Bursary Committee members for the period 2024 to 2027. And 2, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee of the on the Public Finance Management, County Assembly of Makueni, Catering and Health Services Scheme Fund Regulations. On Tuesday, 18th February 2025, morning plenary, motions. 1, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the implementation status of County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly. And 2, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the Makueni County Energy Plan 2023 to 2032. In the afternoon plenary, it's proposed to have the following motions. 1, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Health Services regarding the lack of medical supplies in health facilities in the county, particularly in Ilima Ward. And 2, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the oversight exercise on county road projects across the county. And 3, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Lands, Urban Planning and Development on the complaints against the Registrar of Lands, Makueni County. On Wednesday, 19th February 2025, motions. 1, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the poor workmanship in the installation of culverts on various roads in Dange Ward. And 2, motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Water, Irrigation and Sanitation on oversight exercise on the county project for the financial year 2023-2024 as conducted on 8th and 9th August 2024. 3, motion for the adoption of the report of Committee on Water, Irrigation and Sanitation on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly. On the same date, it's proposed to have the two bills. 1, Committee of the Whole County Assembly considering the Makueni County Agricultural Training Center Bill 2024, Makueni County Assembly Bill number 2 of 2024, and 2, motion for the third reading of the Makueni County Agricultural Training Center Bill 2024, Makueni County Assembly Bill number 2 of 2024. Mr. Speaker, there shall be a meeting of the Assembly Business Committee on Monday 17th February 2025 at 9 a.m. and pursuant to the decisions of that meeting, additional business may be scheduled to be transacted by the County Assembly during that week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, waiving of notice period.
Leader of the majority to move a procedural motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to move a procedural motion as follows. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following procedural motion, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 65B, this Assembly resolves to waive the notice period for the motion and adoption of the County Assembly calendar for regular sessions in 2024, appearing on the order paper under order number 9. Honorable Speaker, this procedural motion is just to shorten the time of passing this particular motion on the County Assembly calendar. Honorable Speaker, as members know, the calendar is very critical in transacting business in this assembly, and it's a guide. It's rather a guide to show us when probably we should be sitting and when we should be on recess, so that we may plan well for the year or for this session. So, Honorable Speaker, I beseech the members that we may pass this procedural motion so that we may proceed to the tentative, to the motion itself, so that we at least we may know what we expect to be our timelines in transacting our business. So, Honorable Speaker, I call upon the Deputy I call upon the minority leader to second this motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Of course, before I second the motion, I wish also to take the opportunity to welcome students and teachers from Kalawa Primary School in Kalawa Ward, where our minority whip comes from, and where he is also elected to represent the people of Kalawa, and to encourage them to continue doing well, and also to shape this country, as we have seen with the spirit of young people of this country. We wish them all the best as they continue learning in this institution. We are very proud to be associated with the Honorable Member for Kalawa as the party Muungano, and we cannot skip that opportunity to encourage people from Kalawa. Honorable Speaker, when I go back to the motion, I want to stand and second this motion because it is very important for this assembly to have a substantial calendar which will guide our activities across the session. And this is very important. If we do not have this notice waived, Honorable Speaker, it means we will have to wait until next week when we can have this motion debated and also passed by this assembly. So I take the opportunity and the honor to second and ask members to support this motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I propose the question that notwithstanding provisions of Standing Order number 60, suborder 5B, this assembly resolves to waive the notice period for the motion on the adoption of the County Assembly calendar for the regular sessions of the year 2025, appearing all the order paper under order number 9. The floor is open for debate. Leader of the majority party.
think we can proceed.
Honorable members, I put the question that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 60, paragraph 5B, this assembly resolves to waive the notice period for the motion, the adoption of the County Assembly calendar for regular sessions in the year 2025, appearing in the order paper under order number 9. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. We go to the next order.
Order number 9, motion. Adoption of the County Assembly calendar, regular sessions 2025.
Mover of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thank the members for supporting the procedural motion. Honorable Speaker, I now beg to move the following motion, that pursuant to the provisions of Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders 30, 31, and 33, this Assembly approves the proposed Makueni County Assembly calendar for the 4th session of the 3rd Assembly, regular sessions, 2025, as appended to the order paper. Honorable members, I want to invite you to the order paper of the day, which of course is to inform the members this fourth session will end in February next year. So this first part of the calendar involves 20 sittings in the first sitting days, then 17 recess days, and 20 sittings in the preceding sitting days, and a long recess between Thursday of 8th May, Friday, and Friday of 6th June. That will make 22 recess days. Then the second part, which will commence on Monday, 9th June, and end on 26th September 2025. That second part has 20 sittings, 12 recess days, another 20 sittings, and then 22 recess days. The third part will start on Monday, 29th September, and end in February 6th of next year. And it has 12 sittings in the first sitting days, 17 recess days, 16 sittings, and then 47 recess days, which is now the longest recess period. So, honorable members, without putting a lot of thought into this matter, I request that we may pass this calendar so that we may proceed with the other business of this assembly. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I once more call the leader of the minority to second this motion.
Honorable members, I propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Makueni County Assembly Standing Order number 30, number 31, and number 33, this assembly considers the County Assembly calendar for the fourth session of the third assembly, which is the regular sessions of the year 2025, as appended to this order paper. The floor is open for debate. Honorable Elizabeth Muthike.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to welcome the pupils and teachers from Kalawa. And I am sure they are going to learn a lot from this assembly as they continue watching the assembly proceedings. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support as read by the leader of majority. And my plea, Honorable Speaker, would be let us stick to the calendar as passed without or with minimal alterations so that we do not affect the running and operations of a county assembly Again, Honorable Speaker, this will make sure that members also plan themselves, because it will be very unfortunate when members expect that they are going for a recess, then we alter the calendar without undue or unnecessary consultations. So even when the calendar has to be altered, let there be consultations with members so that we do not feel that we are ambushed. Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Member from between what?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support, though I did not request to speak. Maybe another member, but I support.
Mover of the motion.
I can see the mood is to support this motion. So, Honorable Speaker, I propose that you put the question. Thank you.
Honorable members, I put the question for vote, which is that pursuant to provision of Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders number 30, 31, and 33, this Assembly approved the proposed Makueni County Assembly calendar for the fourth session of the third Assembly, which is the regular sessions of the year 2025, as appended to the order paper. Will as many as of their opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, this calendar stands approved. We direct the clerk of the county assembly to publish it on our website and other media as required of standing orders, and respective committee to make use of it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. The report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the implementation status of County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly.
Chairperson. Chairperson, Committee on Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the implementation of the status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly resolution passed by the Third Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I will not treat the committee establishment, but of course, we know that it has 9 members. So, Honorable Speaker, the standing orders, number 204.1 of the Makueni County Assembly standing orders provides that within 60 days of the adoption of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of the Select Committee, the relevant County Executive Committee member whose portfolio the implementation of the resolution is forced shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with Section 39(2) of the County Governments Act 2012. The Committee on Environment and Climate Change considered the resolutions and noted that a total of 3 reports, 1 bill and 1 policy were considered by the committee during the time under review. The report of the Committee on Projects Implementation Status Financial Year 2022-2023 was so considered. The report of the Makueni County Climate Change Bill 2022, which was approved by the County Assembly, and the Makueni County Mining Policy 2023. The Committee General of Observations and Findings are that there was failure to adhere to the timelines given for the implementation of the County Assembly resolutions as stipulated in the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, number 2041, which provides that within 60 days of a resolution of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of a select committee, the relevant County Executive Committee member whose portfolio the implementation of the resolution falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with Section 39(2) of the County Governments Act of 2012. The following 2 reports, one a policy and a bill, were considered, adopted by the Assembly and forwarded to the relevant departments or entities of the County Executive for information or action, which are the report of the Committee on Projects Implementation Status Financial Year 2022-2023, which was adopted on the 21st of January 2023, the report on Makueni County Mining Policy 2023, which was adopted on the 15th of February 2023, and the report of Makueni County Climate Change Bill 2023. 2, which was adopted on the 6th of December 2023. Honorable Speaker, the committee made the following recommendations. Upon scrutiny and inquiry from the County Executive Committee member, the Department of Environment and Climate Change recommends that 1, the County Executive Committee member for Environment and Climate Change should always adhere to the timelines given for reporting on the implementation of County Assembly resolutions as stipulated by the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, number 2041. And then 2, the County Assembly Committee on Implementation takes up with the resolutions for scrutiny pursuant to provisions of Standing Order number 213 of the County Assembly Standing Orders. Acknowledgement, the committee wishes to acknowledge the input and the value contributions of members during the period under review. The committee also takes cognizance of the contribution by the clerk and the Speaker of the County Assembly for technical support and appreciative. And it's thus my pleasant duty to, on behalf of the committee, to present this report to the County Assembly for consideration. And now that I call upon member from Kakowaya, Honorable Mutindi, to second.
Honorable Mutindi, you wish to debate later? If you take a bow, it means you second, but you are reserving some good time so that you can debate the motion. I presume so because as a teacher, and you have pupils around, they also need to know why you left classroom.
Thank you, Mr.
Why
Speaker.
you left them alone to come to the County Assembly. Proceed, Honorable Elizabeth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I second the motion, I wish to welcome the pupils and teachers from Kalawa and parents. Welcome to, that they feel welcome in this honorable house. We hope they are having a great time in this chamber and that they are learning and that they will not leave the same way they came in. Mr. Speaker, having been a teacher, I always feel good having pupils and students around. Yesterday was one of those days. Today we have yet another set of kids who are here to learn, and we wish them all the best in these very trying moments. As they study, I wish them the best, and I wish them a bright future, full of hope, so that they can be as far as their dreams can take them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable members, I propose the question that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions of the Third Assembly laid on the table of the Assembly on 30th of July 2024. The floor is open for debate. Member from Bitini Ward, Honorable Bernard Tivu Mutua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raise to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, specifically the recommendation on the County Assembly Committee on Implementation to take action on these resolutions, Mr. Speaker, they need to take serious actions. However, Mr. Speaker, that Committee on Environment seems to have teeth, but they can't bite, Mr. Speaker. If in their findings they say there were failure to adhere to timelines given for implementation, what action have they taken? And they are making other recommendations. What if they are not taken serious this time? We need to see action being taken. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, motion, and Honorable Speaker, I've just risen on a point of concern about sand harvesting. Honorable Speaker, this committee has the responsibility to oversight the executive on what's happening on our rivers. Honorable Speaker, I'm very disturbed to report to this House that sand harvesting and the cartels are back. Honorable Speaker, it's a shame. As the people of Makueni, what are we planning to leave as a legacy if sometimes back sand harvesting was stopped under the leadership of His Excellency Kevuda Kibwana? Honorable Speaker, we have a duty, together with His Excellency Mutula Kilonzo Jr., to protect our rivers. And as the oversight body of this county, we have a duty to report to His Excellency, the Governor, and inform him on what's happening in this county. Honorable Speaker, it's very disturbing to have cartels back. And it's so unfortunate that some officers and probably some honorable members are implicated in these cartels. Honorable Speaker, it should not go unnoticed that we are doing a lot of injustice to the governor and to the people of Makueni. Honorable Speaker, I want this committee, because this is their report, we can see it's a good report, but I want this committee within the next few days to tell us what's happening in our rivers. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Leader of the majority, leader of the minority party. No, there is confusion all over. So I was confusing you for leader of majority. Based on the national debate. Go ahead, leader of the minority party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I will support this time because they have not brought a report for a long time. I will support, but they have not been bringing those reports. And when you look at the committee recommendations, Honorable Speaker, they have done many observations, like ABC on the fully established and operationalized climate change committees, structures in the County Climate Act, Honorable Speaker. And that is why when you listen to what the Honorable Majority Leader was saying, it is about following up on these legislations, Honorable Speaker. If the laws are followed, Honorable Speaker, we will not have the cartels, as Honorable Kisungi is informing this assembly, Honorable Speaker, because if you follow those laws, if they enforce the following of those laws by oversighting this department, Honorable Speaker, this committee will really help the people of Makueni County by making sure that those laws are followed to the letter, Honorable Speaker. So now, when you also say somebody has been implicated in this, while we know very well that we have very explicit laws, Honorable Speaker, to deal with sand harvesting, Honorable Speaker, it becomes a big problem. Honorable Speaker, I have seen also the committee is evasive by saying the committee on implementation should take up these matters, Honorable Speaker. The first level is not the committee on implementation. The first level is the select committee or the sectoral committee in charge of these matters, Honorable Speaker. So I would wish if they can always be to the toss, Honorable Speaker, they will really help the people of Makueni, Honorable Speaker. And then when you look at the recommendations, Honorable Speaker, they are not tallying with the findings, Honorable Speaker. I don't know where these recommendations are coming from, because I have seen they have done observations and findings, then to the same effect, Honorable Speaker, they have not respectively, Honorable Speaker, done the observations as compared to the recommendations. And I would have wished the next time they are bringing a report here, Honorable Speaker, that report should show how an implementation or a recommendation is tying with a finding, Honorable Speaker. And that way it will be easy for readers to go through this document. Otherwise, because this is their first report, Honorable Speaker, of a long period of time, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask members we give a small yes, not a big one. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Kalawa Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to appreciate what the committee has done and also the report that they have brought to the floor of this House. Mr. Speaker, one of the observation is that the committee has observed that we have structures that have been established. And that those structures actually will help the department to ensure that all the matters that relate to environment and also in preserving our environment that they want. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, with these committees, I tend to believe that the department will take action. Speaker, if they are not able to be taken through that process, they'll not be able to know what is their duty, what are they supposed to do. And that actually, Mr. Speaker, in our horse, will also take an action in terms of implementation and also ensuring that what is actually in the work plan has been adhered to. Mr. Speaker, when I check on those findings and also the observations, we have, Mr. Speaker, a work plan that is running from 2023 to 2027. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, in terms of recommendation, I thought it good as Mr. Speaker, when we have a committee recommendation that work plan, we can actually have timelines in terms of the activities in between. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the Assembly is able now to understand where the department is actually starting at a point, and before the end of the time, 2027, we are able to see the department. And when we are doing actually the evaluations and also the achievements in the department, we are able now to see what has been achieved, what is the gap, and what needs to be done, so that the work plan and also the activities in between are well realized. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, allow me to say, according to the observations, in terms of findings, the committee has come up with the best observations and also the findings. But now to make follow-ups in terms of the recommendation, that is now where the work and also the exam lies. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, that now goes back to the committee. Therefore, we can able to see at the end of 5 years what has been achieved in terms of the department and also the committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mover of the motion, to respond to the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hear the sentiments of the honorable members. Majorly, it's about the wish that this committee can improve, on the areas the committee can improve. And as I sort of an advice, member for Bitini, talking about how the committee should first do the work of follow-up on the solutions before we engage the committee on implementation, and same to the leader of the minority, and also same to member for Kalawa. We get that counsel. We also heard from the member for Kistungo, who is also the majority leader, about the resurgence of cartels in the sand industry. I must say that sand harvesting and business is an emotive matter and a matter of great politics in this county. We did hear of the issues that were getting in the local media, and we wrote to the department, and we are waiting to see what they will respond. But one thing I know is that we will need to move fast if these threat is real. We cannot allow our rivers to get where they were before this ban was put into force. And if there is really need for this house to make a move, I am sure this house will not hesitate. So I ask the members to support this motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I put the question for vote. That this assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Environment and Climate Change on the implementation status of the County Assembly resolutions, the third assembly, which was laid on the table of the assembly on 30th of July 2024. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members have directions to make. The chairperson, we have taken note of the recommendations that you've made. However, members requested to know to what extent have you implemented the previous resolutions. Honorable Chair has taken note that it is your responsibility to follow up on implementations of resolutions within 60 days so that then we make progress on oversight. Next order.
Order number 11, motion. The report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the poor workmanship in the installation of culverts on various roads in Bunge Ward.
Chairperson, Committee on Road and Transport, Honorable Alexander Mulemba, member for Mboni Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion: that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy on the poor workmanship in the installation of culverts on the various roads in Bunge Ward, laid on the table of the Assembly on 9th October 2024. Mr. Speaker, due to interest of time, allow me to start with the executive summary. In the financial year 2023-2024, the Department of Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy had an allocation of Kenya shillings 730,698,959 shillings. The budget was to be implemented with the vision of providing a cost-effective public utility, infrastructure, facilities, and services in the areas of energy, transport, and built environment. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the financial year 2023-2024, Kenya shillings 2 million was allocated for installation of culverts in various roads in Bunge Ward. The roads where the culverts were to be installed included Etumo Road, Maiku Road, Kwachulu, Kwanzuna Dam Road, and Chaani Iviloni Kwa Komu Road. Mr. Speaker, sir, the contract for the installation of the culverts was awarded to MS Extra Enterprises Limited at a contract value of Kenya shillings 1,900,000 for that 4.96 shillings. The project period was 90 days, commencing on 11th April 2024 to 11th July 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Eric Katumo, member for Bunge Ward, pursuant to Article 185(3) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 39, Part 2 of the County Government Act, revised 2020, and Standing Order 50 of the County Assembly of Makueni Standing Orders on 26th June 2024 requested for statement regarding poor workmanship in the installation of culverts in various roads in Bunge Ward. Mr. Speaker, sir, the honorable member requested the chairperson Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy to respond on the following issues. A, whether the department was aware of the poor workmanship on the casting and installation of the culverts. B, whether the cost of installation of a culvert was approximately $240,000, as was prudent. He requested a breakdown of the activities and cost of each activity in casting and installation of the culverts. C, provide a copy of the bills of quantities for the project. D, whether the roads engineer inspected the works and approved them as satisfactorily done. E, why the contractor had not still reinforced the culverts and the assurance that the culverts will not break down under the weight they will be subjected to. Similarly, why the backfilling was not done using adequate and instead loose soil was used, and what is the assurance that the culverts will not be washed away. And F, was value for money realized in implementation of the project. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee sought for information from the Executive Committee member for Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy through a correspondence dated 27th June 2024. The Executive Committee member responded through a correspondence dated 4th July 2024 as attached. The response was as follows. On question A, that the department supervised the culvert installation works to the level of construction they were in, and that there was no poor workmanship. That was not noted. The department was aware that there was pending works which included construction of tall beams, opening of inlets and outlets, and backfilling of the culverts. The contractor had clear instructions on undertaking the above stated works as per the required standards. On question B, that the department was not compromised. 2, the culvert wing wall and head walls were below the final road service and shall be raised by 300 millimeters. 3, the culvert's wing walls were aligned to stream direction. The contractor had not shaped the side drains to direct the service runoff to the culverts. 4, the regular internal service of the culverts does not affect the volume of water flowing through the culverts. 5, the contractor was directed to use the specified backfilling material in the bills of quantities. 6, in areas where low volume culverts have been installed, the ECM recommended additional funding to install 2 more lines of culverts. 7, the department uses standard design for construction of culverts. Mr. Speaker, sir, upon scrutiny of all the correspondences and basing the argument on the oversight report, the committee found out that 1, the department uses standard designs for construction of culverts across all roads in the county. 2, lack of expertise and technical knowledge in the implementation of the project by both the contractor and the supervising engineer led to poor workmanship. 3, the project management committee did not allow the project standard specification as they were not provided with the bills of quantities during the project implementation. 4, the works were poorly done, hence no value for money. 5, the contractor had implemented the directives provided by the department that included the height of the wing walls and the head walls, use of specified material in backfilling of the culverts, shaping of the side drains to allow smooth water flow into the culvert, and excavation of both the inlet and outlet to allow smooth flow of water and to prevent ponding. 6, the tender process was flawed. The tender process was flawed because the notification of award was issued just 1 day before the letter of acceptance, contract form, and project commencement date, provided that a contract shall be signed within the tender validity period. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee recommends as follows. 1, that the Department of Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy should ensure that customized bills of quantities and designs are drawn for every project. Further, the department should provide bills of quantities and designs that are generated from the site survey for the installation of the culverts within 30 days upon the adoption of this report. 2, that pursuant to Section 156 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, the Executive Committee member for Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy should institute legal measures against the department's accounting officer for failure to execute its duties with due diligence, hence leading to loss of public funds. 3, the department should ensure that all the PMCs are trained before the commencement of the project and provided with all the relevant documents for effective supervision of projects. 4, that pursuant to Section 150 of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act 2022, an accounting officer or appointed representative shall be responsible for ensuring that good works and services are of the right quality and quantity. Therefore, sub-county engineer and the inspection and acceptance committee should be charged for allowing the installation of substandard culverts. 5, that pursuant to Section 203 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, the accounting officer, Department of Finance and Socioeconomic Planning should initiate recovery measures against the contractor, MS10 Extra Enterprises Limited, if the contractor fails to redo the works and there was partial payment done. 6, all the corrective works done were infertility because concrete works are not patched. The excavation of the inlets and outlets will not help as the channel shall be flooded with sand, hence blocking the culverts, and therefore the works should be repeated. 7, the works on the installation of the culverts were not in conformity with the provisions of the contract and therefore should be redone in accordance with the newly drawn bills of quantities and designs. 8, the ECM Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing and Energy should submit a work plan on how the above recommendations shall be implemented within 30 days upon adoption of this report. Acknowledgements. Mr. Speaker, sir, I take this opportunity to thank the Office of the Speaker and Clerk of the County Assembly for the logistical support accorded to the committee during the exercise. I take this opportunity to also thank members of the committee for their commitment, endurance, and input during the entire exercise. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the committee, it's my pleasant duty to present to this Honorable House the report on the poor workmanship in installation of culverts on various roads in Bunge Ward for adoption. Thank you, Speaker. I now call upon Honorable Jackson Ndolo Kimunyi to second the motion. Thank you.
Member for Ukia Ward.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I stand to second the report from my chair and also welcome Kalawa School in this assembly and wish them a successful learning Mr. Speaker, yes, this committee did a site visit to Bunge, and Mr. Speaker, the issues you have heard the chair mention actually were witnessed on the ground. Mr. Speaker, the works we found in Bunge regarding those culverts, Mr. Speaker, are things that we cannot continue to accept in this county, Mr. Speaker. This is a case of negligence of the department, of our engineers, and the accounting officers who are in charge of the implementation of this project. Mr. Speaker, in Bunge, when you look at how those culverts were done, they were serious flaws of the standards which we have in this county, if we have any. Mr. Speaker, the culverts which were done, they are not helpful to the ward, to those roads. And the major problem we are seeing, Mr. Speaker, is because our engineers are not doing designs based on or customized to the site or where the structures are supposed to be fixed. They did standardization of culverts. Yet, when you go to some of the areas or the rivers where these structures are supposed to be fixed, you realize an engineer can be able to tell, here we need a culvert of 600, here we need a culvert of 900, but they were all standardized, 600 culverts. Some of the areas, you realize they were like 3 or 4, very small culverts. And when you ask the engineer why this was done, why this was not seen before the design was done, they tell you we had a standard design. That cannot happen. If we have to successfully implement project to the right standards, our BQs, whether on the road structures, whether on construction of our building, they must be customized. The BQs must be customized so that we can be able to get the right standard of works in our county government. I would like also, we realize that our PMC or the PMC in that project, one, they were not provided with what was supposed to be done. The BQ was not provided. And you cannot blame the PMC because one, they are not technical people. The engineers did not even take through on what was supposed to be done. And our engineers approved things which were not right, Mr. Speaker. This is happening across the county, across all the wards. And I would like to urge all the members to be vigilant whenever we are implementing projects. First, before any project commences, you need to be vigilant to ensure a proper and customized design has been provided, a properly done BQ that is in tandem on what is supposed to be done on that particular site. And the PMC that is elected to represent the community to oversee such a project must be given or trained or briefed on what is supposed to be done within that project. And our engineers must ensure whatever they are approving at every stage of our projects is the right thing. And we, as the representative of the people, we must ensure also we keep on checking what is being implemented in your ward so that at the end of any project, you can be able to raise any issue with the contractors before the project even ends. Mr. Speaker, on the same project, you realize that the Procurement Act was also seriously breached because the contractor was given a letter of notification and after 2 days, a letter of acceptance one day was given, surely. That is a serious flaw on our procurement laws. And this must stop. It is not only this project. I know there are many other projects which have gone through the same process. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support this report, and we expect the recommendation done. I second this report, and we expect the recommendation given to be observed, and this House gets a progress report as we move on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I propose the question for debate, which is that this assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Infrastructure, Transport, Public Works, Housing, and Energy on the poor workmanship, the installation of culverts on various roads in Thanke Ward, laid on the table of the Assembly on 9th of October, 2024. Floor is open. Who had requested to speak? Honorable Elizabeth Mudhike-Muli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support. Indeed, I am a member of the Transport Committee. And Honorable Speaker, I can tell you what we saw in Thange is not even worth debating in this assembly, Honorable Speaker. It was really disgusting for members of this county assembly to see what we saw in Thange. Honorable Speaker, it was a total joke that money meant for the people of Thange was misused in the status that we saw, Honorable Speaker. It is sad, and it's worrying. And Honorable Speaker, at first when I saw the member for Thange lament before this House, I thought it was a joke. But when I visited Thange, and my chair can attest, we almost shed tears when we toured the roads. It was difficult to understand that such works were done under supervision of an officer paid by this county government. Honorable Speaker, you can't even, even when you tour, if you find yourself in Thange and visit this project, you will not even believe that there's a sub-county engineer in that ward, a sub-county engineer who visited that project and drew allowances meant for monitoring of the same project. And Honorable Speaker, you want us to sit here and accept that this was money for the people of Thange. And to make matters worse, they want unbudgeted under the ward budget, and their money is almost finished. Honorable Speaker, it was a total joke. Honorable Speaker, for justice to be seen to the people of Thange, this work has to be done. Honorable Speaker, for justice to be done to the member for Thange, this work has to be redone. Honorable Speaker, for justice to be done to the people of Makueni and the county government of Makueni, this work has to be redone. For justice to be done to the governor of Makueni County government, this work has to be redone. Honorable Speaker, it was bad. And I don't even think the governor himself can stand this. It is bad state of affairs, and we cannot even sit back and watch as the people representatives of this county, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the sub-county engineer was invited during our visit, and then you ask him, have you ever been into this project? And he says, yes, I was here. You allowed this to happen? He has no answer for that. Honorable Speaker, even when we want to be sympathetic, when we want to emphasize and empathize with such characters, we find it also difficult to do it. Honorable Speaker, as the representatives of the people, we do not want to care whether they come from anyone's ward. We don't want to understand where they come from, but they have led and assisted in the misuse of the funds meant for the people of Thange. Honorable Speaker, and the department's accounting officer failed in his role to supervise in this implementation of the project. Honorable Speaker, it was bad, and for an accounting officer to sit and watch this happening, it was bad, Honorable Speaker, and that is why the committee, in its own wisdom, has recommended that the accounting officer should take charge and should take responsibility over this matter. It was his own negligence as the accounting officer not to oversee the supervision and overall workmanship of this project, Honorable Speaker. So the accounting officer should take full responsibility in ensuring that these works are redone and that the best is achieved for the people of Thange in Kibwezi West. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member from Tinwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support that motion, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, I think this department needs prayers, if not a mass. Mr. Speaker, because there were changes last year, and we expected to see changes in terms of development, in terms of how they do their work. Mr. Speaker, if we go by the way this motion is stating, we need to go back and audit how those engineers were employed, Mr. Speaker. We need to see their papers and their certificates, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are aware there are some county employees who were employed without the required documents, Mr. Speaker. Even, Mr. Speaker, we are aware some of the admins were employed with a certificate, while they were required to have a diploma, Mr. Speaker. So we need also an audit to be done to our engineers, Mr. Speaker, because this is just a sample of what has been happening in Makueni that was done in Thange, Mr. Speaker. There are other places that might be not in our picture, Mr. Speaker, so we need an audit to know, are they qualified to be engineers, Mr. Speaker? Also, Mr. Speaker, the story is so interesting, Mr. Speaker. You hear that the Honorable Member for Thange requested for a statement. The Waziri responded to the committee, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, way back, the CEO is requesting to go and visit the site to see and give a report. And work was done. And we expect that there was a period of time we did not bother to go and visit before we gave a response to that statement, Mr. Speaker. So they need to be serious, Mr. Speaker, and that department, as I have stated, they need prayers, Mr. Speaker. There is a time you visited my area, between Mr. Speaker, and you had time to respond to my residents, Mr. Speaker. Why adrift that we allocated money 3 years back? That has not started, Mr. Speaker. I've seen the advert, it's closing tomorrow. And Mr. Speaker, there is no evidence or confirmation that the process will be responsive. Maybe they will, the procurement might be non-responsive. They go back and we take 4 years. So, Mr. Speaker, we need value for money. We need a process that is very, very seamless to our people so that they can see development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the recommendation on money to be recovered from the contractor, Mr. Speaker, that is too lenient, Mr. Speaker. They are too soft to that contractor. Mr. Speaker, that contractor needs to be blacklisted from doing jobs or contracts in this county. Mr. Speaker, you can't do shoddy jobs and expect us to entertain you doing shoddy jobs. Let him be blacklisted, that PIN number be blacklisted so that they don't entertain, they don't do any shoddy works in Makueni. And other contractors will learn from that if they are blacklisted, Mr. Speaker. Oh, this department, we need to pray for them, Mr. Speaker. They are doing nothing, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. And all engineers need to be audited. We need to know their papers if they have, during their employment, if they presented certified certificates, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable members, I wish to refer you to Section 36 of the County Governments Act. and this is on the function of account executive committee member. That 6.1, in addition to the functions provided under Article 183 of the Constitution, the county executive committee member shall, 1, supervise the administration and service delivery of services in the county and all decentralized units and agencies in the county, and then carry out any function incidental to any other role assigned. Now, if you read that together with section 45(3) is on the appointment of chief officers. So 45(1)(3) provides that a chief officer shall be responsible to the respective county executive committee member for the administration of the department as provided under section 46. And the responsibility goes back and back up to section 30. Not section 30, I think it's section 29, on the responsibility of the governor, the chairperson and the deputy governor of the county executive committee. And then therefore, the responsibility is higher as you go up and is narrow as you go down. So on supervision, whereas I hear your comments are that the said officer, sub-county, or the technical, or the director did not do what they were supposed to do. There is someone in the hierarchy who should not visit site, but should ensure that what the engineers ought to do is done. So it is inseparable. In fact, the responsibility and the buck stops with the person vetted by this assembly. And for them to be clean, they should demonstrate the actions they took before the assembly made recommendations to inquire into and investigate conduct of an officer. If assembly proceeds to inquire into and make recommendations about an officer, it is deemed that the supervisor did not do what he was supposed to do. And therefore, by dint of that recommendation, is declaring one to have been irresponsible or not to have performed their functions as the county executive committee member or as a chief officer. So it should be as strong as such. Honorable Felix Mateso, followed by Honorable Jonathan Mwaniki, and then Honorable Elizabeth Mood. Honorable Nzivo. Honorable Nzivo is not in the house. Honorable Mateso, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I once said in this house, Mr. Speaker, when reshuffles were done, the people were celebrating, Mr. Speaker, and I said that we may be jumping from a burning fire to a frying pan, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is just a replica. Mr. Speaker, this is just a replica.
What is the point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to correct my good neighbor and friend that we are not jumping from the fire into the pan, but the vice versa. You cannot jump. When you get into the fire, you cannot jump. We are jumping from the frying pan and into the fire. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, she remembers exactly what I said. That is what I said, not what I've just said now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is just what is happening in Bunge is just a replica of many other projects that are happening, Mr. Speaker, in this county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a similar of culverts and structures that were not done well in my ward, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the same engineers went ahead and actually inspected the project when it was shortly done, Mr. Speaker, and they paid the contractor, Mr. Speaker, when the issues actually in the statement were not even addressed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what does that tell you, Mr. Speaker? It tells you that there is a lot of problems with our engineers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we talk now, also a project which is ongoing, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, having allocated that project some good amount of money, Mr. Speaker, the project is done halfway. And the amount of time allocated to open the road, Mr. Speaker, is not actually, it cannot complete the road, and there is money allocated to do maraming. A lot of money, Mr. Speaker, almost half of that budget, Mr. Speaker. And the road is not completely open, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the BQs, Mr. Speaker, you realize that these engineers are neither not qualified, as the Honorable Mbenda is saying, nor they are ignorant, and they do not even want to do exactly what is supposed to be professional, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think something must be done, Mr. Speaker, because we are losing, Mr. Speaker, compared to the works that are being ongoing. I believe the engineers may be qualified, but the supervision is not being done very well to the top level, as you have said, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to be very careful. We need to be thoroughly in oversight, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, I think the best thing you can do is give a ruling on these engineers, on what is supposed to be done, so that we can get out of this mess, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, we continue losing because money is misused. There's no value for money for our people. And at the same time, we will actually end up even losing. People have no confidence on us, Mr. Speaker. And we will just go home, Mr. Speaker, because of mistakes that do not belong to us, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Maneki. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support the report. And Mr. Speaker, listening to the mover of the motion, the member for Bunge brought a statement. The chair, infrastructure, communicated the ECM, wanting to know what was happening. And Mr. Speaker, they were given some answers where the ECM is saying we did this, and we did this, and we did this. Mr. Speaker, the committee was not satisfied. And Mr. Speaker, you allowed the committee to visit the said area, Mr. Speaker, in Bunge, so that they can go and see what is happening. Mr. Speaker, you have heard, when the committee went, Mr. Speaker, they found what the ECM, not the CEO, what the ECM was saying is not what is on the ground, Mr. Speaker. And they invited the ECM again. When the ECM came, he instructed the CEO to go and confirm what is happening on the ground, Mr. Speaker. And before that, the ECM had communicated, saying that everything is going on very well and we are standardized, Mr. Speaker. They are ISO certified. Mr. Speaker, it is not only in Bunge, it is everywhere in this county, Mr. Speaker. I agree with the recommendation, but Mr. Speaker, I propose, Mr. Speaker, because this is now too much, Mr. Speaker. This assembly cannot work with corrupt people. Mr. Speaker, the county government of Makueni cannot accept corrupt officers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you chaired the appointment committee when we are appointing this ESCM, Mr. Speaker, and a report was brought to this house, Mr. Speaker. The chair infrastructure interviewed the CEO for the same department, Mr. Speaker, and they had documents. Mr. Speaker, these people have become corrupt. Why don't we give them a mandate, Mr. Speaker? I propose to appear here and become with all the documents, Mr. Speaker, we interrogate them. We allocate a date
Mr. Speaker, especially on a Tuesday, when we have 2 sittings, so that we can sit with them from 8:30, Mr. Speaker, sure 9:30, 8:30 to 11 somewhere there, Mr. Speaker, so that we can at least understand these people. Mr. Speaker, if these people are still in office, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether we have the right people. Mr. Speaker, these people are supposed to be at home facing charges, Mr. Speaker, of misappropriating government funds, Mr. Speaker, messing every stage, Mr. Speaker. The procurement is done within 24 hours of the work, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the PMCs, Mr. Speaker, are not issued with the BQs so that they can know how to supervise, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if we are engineers, sub-engineers, Kibwesi's, sub-county engineers, Mr. Speaker, let them not underrate or think that we don't have other engineers in Kibwezi sub-county, Mr. Speaker. Makueni people have so many engineers, Mr. Speaker. I cannot understand, Mr. Speaker, how these people should continue to work, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, give them a date. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Masongalen Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this report. And as I support this report, Mr. Speaker, I have over time keenly observed whatever is happening on the ground as pertains these engineers. And I think, Mr. Speaker, it is time this House orders a special audit of the technical personnel, specifically from the Department of Infrastructure, because apart from the road engineers, it is also in the department, Mr. Speaker, that we have the civil section that is making funny BQs for our classrooms and other structures, Mr. Speaker. That is attracting ridicule across the county, Mr. Speaker. And it is also the department that is making very expensive BQs, Mr. Speaker, supported by this caliber of engineers, Mr. Speaker. I must say, from my personal observation, Mr. Speaker, this problem is emanating from a department that is always collaborating with the contractors, Mr. Speaker, because you find an engineer is always moving around a project in the contractor's car. How do you expect this engineer to give instructions to a contractor who has done something wrong fairly, Mr. Speaker? He must be biased, Mr. Speaker. So it is time this department, Mr. Speaker, ups its game, or we begin chasing the rogue engineers, Mr. Speaker, in the department. Thank you.
Honorable Jennifer Kamande Mwandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I start by applauding the statement which was raised by Honorable Katumo from Bunge Ward. It has come out very clear that he had oversight the projects in the right way. And what he had said has come true. I want to appreciate what the committee have done, and I support their report. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, infrastructures in Makueni County are given a lot of money. But the impact in a shorter period, it is not felt after the resources have been used. if the report we have heard from the committee, it is giving the true picture of what had happened, there is a very serious problem happening in that department. I'm worried how a department can give a serious project to a contractor who is incompetent, and short work is done. This is my recommendation to the department. We have able contractors in Makueni County who can work for the benefit of our people in appropriate.
You can't compete with members that you lead. Allow them to lead. You will overrule or strengthen. Member for Keward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I'll first start by appreciating and congratulating. As I'm saying, I will first congratulate the committee for a job well done. I am a member of that committee. I went to Bunge as we visited and witnessed on how the works had been done. And as much as we want to cry that the department is not very keen on its works, let us be keen to not to confirm to the public that we are also not keen. Because, Mr. Speaker, last month, that is January this year, I had a site handover in my ward. From the same department, we were to do some culverts in a road from in an area called Mwea. And the same date is the date that I was supposed to take my daughter to school, and I arrived at the scene of the site handover a bit late. The department had left. The only person I found on the ground was the contractor, the ward admin, and because I had seen what had happened in Bunge, my first question was to the contractor what they had come to do. And I found out that they were coming to address 2 spots. And before then, I had taken an engineer from the department and a senior officer, I will not name him, to the ground before they did the BQ, for them to actually note what was supposed to be done. But they quoted something different, and we had to do away with that BQ. The works were the scopes were to be redone, and I think now they are doing, it is in the procurement. I didn't accept because if we oversight after the mess has been done, it will be very expensive for us as a county. It will be very expensive, especially to the elected members when they go back to the electorate. The electorate doesn't understand that we don't do the works. So once the works are poorly done, the electorate thinks that the MC has eaten the money. So let us be keen. Let us try to work for the people who brought us here, and let us push every department to do its works properly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Avenue, what?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In quick, I want to support this motion. I have heard a lot of members talk about the ineptness of the engineers, but I also want to say these jobs are also one day. There are contractors who are getting jobs with the county government simply because they know someone in the county or they just want to do business with the county, yet they are not established contractors. We need to get a contractor whose work is someone who thinks that they can do business with the county and they become contractors at that very point, and you ask them, what is a Y8? And they cannot tell you what kind of a metal that is. You ask someone, what is the full meaning of BQ? And maybe they will tell you bowl of Qatar or something. They don't know the full meaning, or that's a bit of quantity. Job, how will you not get shoddy jobs? So I tend to think that we need to be strict with the contractors who are sent to our wards to do business. This department looks like it's either, I don't know whether it's a curse or bewitched, someone bewitched it. Because we get very good people. I've seen this with time. I don't know what really happens. We get good people, we now say, we clap our hands, we say, now things will be done. We hope that now our angel has come, our Messiah has come. But within a few months, they get more worse than the others. So I don't know what really befell this department. But we have a duty and a cause to deal with the department right from the top to the bottom for us to clean the mess in this department. Thank you.
Member for Cloud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to be very brief. First, I want to appreciate what the committee has done for making an effort to go on the ground and see what has happened, Mr. Speaker. And out of their commitment, that's why we are able now to see what has happened. Mr. Speaker, the experience in Bunge, in terms of this report, also cuts across in all the other wards. Because, Mr. Speaker, when you hear members saying that the works are not done properly, it is very true. And according to this report, Mr. Speaker, it is very worrying. First, how can we have an engineer coming up with a BQ? And then, from the find out, Mr. Speaker, is that when the engineer goes to the ground to have a supervision of the work, he's not able to understand what is happening and is not able to give a report. So one wonders, how was the BQ developed by such an engineer? And then when you go to the ground to see what is happening as an engineer, you are not able to tell the kind of work that is actually taking place. Mr. Speaker, it is terrible that when we have a budget for each project, and for this matter, because we are talking about the roads, one of the elements we have a supervision fee, and that is actually taken by the engineers and a few officers in the department. Then one wonders, why would one go to the field and take an allowance that is not able to say what has really happened in terms of the work? So, Mr. Speaker, we as an assembly, on the floor of this house, it is very important that we can also make a very strong statement that we are not able to say the experience and the qualification of our engineers, they are actually up to the standard. So if that now becomes the case, Mr. Speaker, then we need to sit down and have a formula on how to see what can be done. Point number 2, Mr. Speaker, one worries, Mr. Speaker, when we say we have a site handover, that site handover, we have a community that is called by the ward and me, and then the public elects the PMC. After now the election of the PMC, one of the two that the PMC, they need to get on that particular day is actually the BQ. So one wonders, why do we go and elect a PMC, then they are left without the two to monitor what is happening? So that is actually a question that, Mr. Speaker, we need to ask ourselves and see what can be done. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the report, and really what is happening in Tange, I can say it is also cutting across to the other wards. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the Minority Party.
Not yet. Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion. Honorable Speaker, I congratulate my former chair, Honorable Alex Mulemba, for a good job with his committee, and also Honorable Engineer Ndolo for the good support in that committee. Honorable Speaker, I want also to agree with them that there is a lot of issue with this department, which is man-made, Honorable Speaker, just because of the motivation to make more money. Honorable Speaker, it doesn't make any sense to allocate monies and you must follow up on those implementations, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we must also thank the people who thought it wise to have a government, then the representatives of the people oversighting that government, Honorable Speaker. Because what would have happened, Honorable Speaker, if we did not have elected members of assemblies across the wards, Honorable Speaker, trying to see what is happening with the county government, Honorable Speaker. Implementers, normally, of course, Honorable Speaker, we have seen they will not implement to letter. And somebody else has to come in sometimes to help in making them make those decisions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we cry a lot, Honorable Speaker, because we have issues to do with the department having many issues, Honorable Speaker. When you look at the contractor, I have listened to all the speakers, Honorable Speaker, but I can also attribute some of these things to the contractor, Honorable Speaker, and the accounting officer. If you can be given a tender without tendering, Honorable Speaker, what will happen? This is the only way to go about it. You produce one of the worst results ever evidenced, Honorable Speaker, in this county. And I listened also when Engineer Ndolo was taking us through the standardization of these structures. I remember even in my place, sometimes the PMC, because they are interfacing between the community and the government, they are not supervisors. And I want to rectify what Honorable Mulemba said about PMC being trained to supervise. PMCs are not here to supervise the works. They are here to give a voice of the community and to interface between the community and the government, Honorable Speaker. Now, when you listened, you will find that the person who was given the job they said somewhere and said, we can just exhaust these monies by giving 20 culverts, for example, worth 600 millimeters, Honorable Speaker, each. This doesn't work because when the PMC is engaged, they will tell, and even the people who visit those areas, they will tell, this will not be enough for a 600 millimeter culvert. So we go to 900 millimeter culvert. And so sometimes they even do double, and then they remove, they balance those BQs, Honorable Speaker, through their minutes, Honorable Speaker. I have also listened to hear about how engineers, you are calling them engineers. They are not engineers, Honorable Speaker. Most of them are not engineers. They are landscapers. I remember last time I was explaining how they are landscapers, others are lab technologists, Honorable Speaker. And they have been given roles to play, and we call them engineers. They are not. I can tell you the only engineer I know is Engineer Oscar. The others are not. Even Muruka is not an engineer. They are landscapers, Honorable Speaker. Sometimes they are using one eye. They close one eye and they look
into the projects, Honorable Speaker. It is not possible. We have others who are not engineers by qualification, but the job training has helped them become engineers in quotes. I remember like the engineer for Kibwezi West is one of the best engineer, James. He's not an engineer, but I can tell you he does a better job than even those engineers, Honorable Speaker. He's not a qualified engineer, but he has the qualification of the ground, Honorable Speaker. And you will never see any faulty job in Kibwezi West under the supervision of Engineer James, Honorable Speaker. Others should benchmark with what James is doing, James Chalo, Honorable Speaker. But some of them are lab technologists. I will not mention them here. Lab technologists are just people to mix the soil and tell you the content of the metallic components, Honorable Speaker. They are not authorized. They are not authorized, Honorable Speaker, to make those BQs. They are not authorized to interpret those BQs. But the department is well dependent on them while they have already corrupted the deals and the tenders within those departments, Honorable Speaker. We will not allow that. In my word, I will never allow that. And that is why in Kikubulu South, we will never allow that. And I want to congratulate the Honorable Member for Thank, who comes from our party, for standing very firm. Standing very firm, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I knew sometimes when you go to some functions, people will speak, then when the politician comes in, they want to limit the number of minutes we are supposed to hold.
Go ahead, Leader of Minority.
I remember, Honorable Speaker, many members spoke without a lot of interventions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was saying I want to congratulate the Honorable Member for Thank, the young man, Honorable Katumo, for coming out and standing very firm for the people of Thank. And if the people of Thank elected this young man while he was green, Honorable Speaker, in 2027 they should re-elect him with a big margin, Honorable Speaker. I want to congratulate him, and I will stand very firm for these people of Makueni, and I am very sure nobody will stand with the corrupt deals in that department, Honorable Speaker. I have also listened that we want to recover the monies. We need to put measures to ensure that nobody is paid before the works are approved, Honorable Speaker. Why should we enforce catching a flight when the flight is already gone, Honorable Speaker? It becomes very difficult. You will not even get the refund, Honorable Speaker. So it is good, this department, as the chairperson has indicated in this report, that they have given the minister 30 days to show a flow of events on what is happening, Honorable Speaker. He should also give the minister, the ECM, who is in charge of this department, to show how they are going to control this going forward, Honorable Speaker, so that the people of Makueni can get value for their money, Honorable Speaker. So I understand the contractor. The contractor is a public officer. He's a ward administrator in this county who did that job, Honorable Speaker. And he was a friend of the CEO. And he was given the job without even any simple qualification. No NCA qualification. It was given on the road, Honorable Speaker. I know the place where they issued those documents. It is along Beria, Honorable Speaker, just before Kisayani, between Siembeni and Kisayani, Honorable Speaker. That is where the contract was awarded. Honorable Speaker, it is very unfortunate. We need to have a working and functional government, Honorable Speaker, and we will support the governor. In fact, the governor is doing very well on this department, Honorable Speaker. You've seen the changes in this department, Honorable Speaker, and we want to support the government so that people of this county can realize what their aspirations are, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to support this report, and I want to challenge Honorable Mulemba to bring more reports so that people of Makueni can get value for their money. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Leader of the Minority Party. Honorable Elizabeth, your request to speak. We don't have time.
Thank you, Honorable. I support this motion. Honorable Speaker, I just very briefly want to tell members that it's our responsibility to oversight this government and we should not shy away from that responsibility. Honorable Speaker, I think it's now high time we even start thinking of reverting some CEOs and some waziris, because some of them, it all depends. Whenever you approve, you can also disapprove. So, because, you know, when you don't do your job, whenever you approve, you can disapprove, my friend. So whenever you fail to do any job that you have been given, and the County Government Act is very clear on what they are supposed to do. So it's also a shame, in fact, to the freedom we have given them as an assembly to perform their duties. When a chair in this assembly is calling a chief officer for the last 2 months, and that chief officer has never picked his phone for 2 months, the chair. And you know, Honorable Speaker, I don't think it requires some science to know that that chair cannot be calling that particular chief officer on personal matters. It's about work. Because I know the two people, they don't border each other, they don't even come from the same location.
But Leader of the Majority, what is the essence of talking to us in Proverbs? I mean, if you have facts, they are facts.
At the right time, I think, Honorable Speaker, I will report that to this House, Honorable Speaker, at the right time. But I'm just saying, it's like some of those people we vetted in this assembly have grown ons. That's the simple logic I'm trying to bring to this House. So, Honorable Speaker, the performance of every ECM and every CEO should come back to this assembly, and the committees should know their powers. Because sometimes I would blame even the committees, because we sometimes feel how things are going bad, but we don't act on that. His Excellency the Governor is ready, and he has confided in me that if he receives any report from any committee or even from this House about a particular ECM or CEO, he will act on that. And he wants the people of Makueni to get the best from these ECMs and CEOs. So, honorable members, it's like we are failing. Because if that particular CEO could not pick up the cause of a chair for 2 months, and the report is getting to us today, then the chair was so lenient. 2 months is such a long time. So, honorable members, let's pull up our socks, let's oversight these people, and let's be serious, very serious, about checking on what they do, and if they are messing us or messing the county, let's do what is necessary, what is required of us by law, because it doesn't, you know, we are not friends. We are just engaging each other because we work together for the people of Makueni. When I came from Boni, I didn't know that I'll work with an ECM from Kibwezi. But we are working together because we have been brought together by circumstances. So at the end of the day, what we want is service delivery, and that service must be delivered to the people of Makueni as per the Constitution. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Move out the motion. Honorable members, the time is up. Chairperson, time is up. Resume your seat. Time is up. This question will be put on Monday at 2:30. It's 17:02 hours. The recommendations in this report, they are not just recommendations. And therefore, you do not want to give anyone a benefit that even the motion was approved unprocedurally. That's the point here. You get me? So will be moved. The chair next week Under the motions, we will resume debate. The chair will respond to the motion, and the question will be put so that it's properly anchored. Honorable members, time now being 17:00 hours. Assembly stands adjourned until Monday, 17th of February, 2025 at 14:30 hours.